Okay, we're live on YouTube. Let's go live on my page.
Okay.
Happy day. Do you want to shut the door?
I do want to shut the door.
Yeah, go for it. Richard.
Yes.
Hey, we are live. Hold on, we're a little bit. I didn't check the angle earlier. Hey, how are you?
It's a very nice set.
Oh, it's not too shabby, is it? I'm quite surprised by this. Oh, this is so pro. Welcome to the Feel Inspired podcast, episode 6 now.
We are on episode 6.
Episode
really
6, yeah, not too shabby at all. And you are lucky number 6. But
I am.
Kind of lucky number. It is lucky anyway. And this lovely lady is the lovely Zamiha Desai. I'm going to introduce her properly shortly. But for anyone who's just joining us, yes, this is the Feel Inspired podcast. I'm Amit Soda, the host of this amazing podcast that's going to be worldwide soon. It's going to be a global phenomenon. I'm not sure what to say.
You need to learn to say it.
Yeah, global phenomenon. And Kieran's there already. Hello, lovely Kieran. But anyway, just to kind of explain about the podcast very quickly, Feel Inspired, where did it come from? For me, it's about recreating that moment when you read something or you see something and that you get that moment of inspiration that kind of, sparks a change within you. Like it sparks a kind of like a new fire, gets you going, gets your, not your loins burning, I almost said that, not that, but it gets you excited, gets you kind of feeling like you want to make a shift or a change in your life. So that's where it's come from. So I'm hoping that something here may spark something inside you that makes you think, oh, I want to make a change. I want to do something. I want to try something different. And who knows, right? Who knows? Because that's exactly kind of what happened to you in a way.
Yeah.
It was a little bit accidental. But I'm glad you said that because I'm going to challenge you on it a little bit later, right?
Okay.
So firstly, let this lady introduce herself and tell you who she is. And while she's doing that, give yourself a 2, 3 minute, 4 minute introduction. And 4
minutes? I can't talk about myself.
Yes, you can.
Okay, then.
And I'll quickly share the video as well while we're doing it.
Okay, so I feel like I'm the filler for you.
You are just for a few minutes, actually.
So I, Zamiha Desai, I run a few Facebook groups that I'm guessing this is being shared to.
Yes.
Is there a lot of our audience on Professional Asian or Recommendation today?
I
from all over?
I think it's going to be all over, but it will be PA.
Okay.
It'll be a lot of PA as well.
So I run a couple of Facebook groups and I do a bit of blogging and I just generally get out and about and meet people. And my mission, so I have a couple of missions actually. One of my passions is like helping new businesses, getting them out there, and I think Professional Asian and Recommendation actually, and Hair Gorgeous, which is an event that I run, has been fantastic for that. And the other thing that I want to do as a woman, obviously I want to empower other women and inspire them as well to feel that they can achieve anything because they can. I can't do 4 minutes.
You can't do 4 minutes? No, I need a bit more. I need a bit more time.
I think you need to share quickly.
I know, right? I mean, hang on a minute. Wait, we're almost there. Let's do this.
See, I feel like most people kind of know who I am and what I do, and then I don't want to repeat myself. Because
but you'll be surprised. Actually, that's an interesting thing. I think you'd be surprised at how many people don't know you, or have not seen you, or have yet to find out about who you are. It's like the example I'd use is someone like David Goggins, right? You know who he is.
Okay, so you're gonna just talk about all these people that I don't know.
Oh, anyway, so he's a guy from America. He's become a big motivational superstar now because he not only did he kind of become a Navy SEAL, he did all the training, but he did it 3 times, which no one else ever did before. He was like one of the first black guys to do it, where there wasn't that many before him. But he did also a different kind of army training. Then he did another one. He was like the bodyguard for the Iranian or Iraqi prime minister or something like that. He's just got an incredible story of how he got to this point. And the thing is as well, whenever I see a podcast of him, he's always telling his story. And there's always a little bit of new stuff coming out, but he's always still sharing. And every time he does it, it still comes out as like it's something new. And I think maybe that's just an art, but possibly, I don't know.
Or maybe I need to work on that art. And I think the other thing is probably with a lot of women as well, and men. I don't know why I'm saying women, because men are like this. Well, I'm a bit of an introvert. Like I'm very comfortable with Amit, and as much as I know that there's people watching, it's different because it's just on Facebook Live, and I know I can see comments coming up and interaction, but I'm getting a bit woody man now, so I can't actually see what it's saying. Oh, you're just watching.
Okay.
So it's like I'm not really used to talking to people, which is weird because I do a lot of networking, and when I host the networking, I'm very comfortable. But when I go to a networking event, I actually do feel like I'm a little bit out of my depth. And I think that because of what I do, people don't expect that of me. But I do. I'm like I'm a shrinking wallflower.
But you know, I think so many people feel like that, right?
They do.
Have you ever had that experience? Because I used to do this, and people used to say that I had a really bad habit of doing this. They'd ask me, how am I doing? And I'd sort of say like 1, 2 quick word answer and then deflect back to them. And I used to do that in networking a lot more now, and so before. And now I've kind of switched it, and I sort of kind of more openly talk about what I do, and now I'm not so shy about it.
Yeah.
You know, radio presenter, really extraordinaire, and you know, amazing life coach.
Extreme to extreme.
Exactly, right. But you know, like I think, but there's it's like anything else. It's an art form. You practice it, you get better at it. You get better at telling your story. Telling your story where that people connect to it and want to know more. And see that you've got something beautiful to offer. And I think you have. I think everyone who's come on here so far has. And you have something beautiful to offer because I think you've done something which, especially from our community, very few people have done. And especially in this day and age on Facebook and stuff like that, and how you connect to people. Because I remember, I think I joined one of the groups, Professional Asian. It probably still had about 8,000-9,000 people on there, and now it has nearly 70,000 people on there. But when you started Professional Asian, or even, was it RecommendAsian that came first?
Yes, it was.
RecommendAsian is the ladies group that came first. And I bet you didn't think, oh my God, it's going to, I went out, I've set out to create this amazing big group and it's going to have loads of people. You didn't think that, did you?
No, and I think funnily enough, when people do think that is actually when it doesn't do so well, because your mission is not like, I'm not saying it's not authentic, because obviously you want to create a big group, but if you're driven by kind of money and popularity and just to be known and like that, then that's not like I never wanted that. It's happened, but I wanted to help other women as much as I wanted to help myself, to be fair. Like I didn't know where to access Zara blouse makers or hairdressers, or I didn't know what like an ombre hairstyle was, and I didn't know a lot of stuff actually. And I always tell
guys are like, what?
I know, which is why we have the women's group. They're always asking, why do you have a women's group?
Oh, it would not work for men. No, I'm
sorry. You don't want to talk about lipstick, isn't it? You want to talk about like Liverpool and United.
But even then, guys don't talk on that level. So
no, I agree.
They won't. It doesn't matter how. I know people have suggested it, and there's people who suggested things to us, and I just think to myself, you know what? I could just tell that that's not going to work. Definitely.
But they do like talking about business.
Yes.
Which is why I think Professional Asian works,
But that's everyone, right? And entrepreneurialism, business owners, they're happy to discuss, what they're doing and stuff. And that, I think that's completely, they are two different breeds, completely.
Yeah.
RecommendAsian being a group for ladies, guys, don't try and join that group, okay? As much as you would like to be in there, like a fly on the wall is probably going to be quite interesting, I would imagine, for a guy to, see something like that. But I don't think it would work in a different capacity. I think women have that more support structure.
Yeah, I think that, I could see, we very rarely post the same thing twice on both groups, but when you do see a similar post in RA and PA, I think you can see that when men answer, they're quite, matter of fact. They don't beat around the bush, whereas I think women are like a bit more empathic and supportive, and they understand in a different way and they respond in a different way.
That's not to say that it wouldn't work in the future, because I think guys are getting a little bit more open, but I think that current guys, how it is, definitely wouldn't work. But like you said, right, you get people talking more about emotional subjects and deep stuff as well. I know, my wife has occasionally mentioned to me, like, she didn't tell me who, she always keeps it anonymous, but she's like, oh my God, someone's put this post, and she's like, I can't believe they're going through this. And again, I can't imagine a guy at the moment opening up about that. Like I said, that might change, right? This isn't a sexist thing. It's just the current paradigm, and things are changing. But
I think women, sweeping generalizations here, but I think women kind of tend to overthink things as well. They really think on like so many different levels, and I think guys tend to be, okay, it is what it is, move on. So, and I think that's maybe the difference, and I think so women just need to be handled a little bit differently.
So that's how it all spawned, though, just from you thinking, right, where do I find this information? And you started this little group.
Not finding. It came from sharing, which I think is also a really good thing to do.
Course, yeah.
So one of my friends had worn a sari, and I was I'm coconut totally. Like, I don't know how to put on a sari. I was like 43 years old and still went to my mum's house, and so I wanted to share that with my friends, that I knew that they would find this particular gadget useful because it was a gadget for doing a pleat. And so, and I think that's really, because I know that you like all this, The Secret and Tony Robbins and stuff. And I think this is where it really shows where it works, that when you come from a place of giving, you receive abundantly. And I think that's probably why when you set out to do something like I'm going to build a Facebook group so I can market my services to like loads and loads of people, it doesn't work in the same way, because you're not coming from that place of sharing and love and stuff. It's more self-serving.
Yeah, and I could just imagine in the beginning, right? I mean, when you first started the group, how many people? I mean, I obviously started with one, but
200.
200.
It started 219.
And then from there, it's like almost 70,000 on that one as well. So it's like, I mean, you must not even have had a clue that it was going to grow to what it is today, like the size it is today.
No, well, who would think, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, it becomes such a part of your life. It's like, because you're doing it like every day, then it becomes such a part of your life that it's actually quite normal. And I think once you get past a certain number, it's like, well, it doesn't really, the scale is just different. It doesn't take that much more effort.
Yeah.
And you put different rules in place, and over the years we've probably kind of got very specific about the fact that it's recommendations and peer support, and you kind of refine further down what your group is doing. So I think probably like 2 years ago, the type of posts we posted then aren't the type of posts we post now, but this is what adds value. And actually there's a lot of Facebook groups around. If you want to like find more specific things about different things, then there are places to go, which is one of the reasons why we started Mini Asian, because parenting is so current. Like, things change so quickly.
Yeah.
And
school admissions and this, that, the other.
Asking in RecommendAsian, which was a really big group, the percentage of parents that actually, are going to have its own kind of niche group.
Yeah.
And then you can really like drill down into, what you're asking and what you're saying to each other, and, what the latest news on breastfeeding is, and on potty training and all that kind of stuff. And it's all like, there are always new books out, there's always new gadgets out, there's new ways of sterilizing, there's new thoughts on children, so it just makes sense. So you can always find what you want.
Yeah, definitely. So 2 questions for you, following up from what you just said. One, was there a specific tipping point where things just started to go crazy? And 2, where do you think that your group succeeded where other groups fail? Maybe I meant to put that the other way wrong. Where do you think some groups fell where yours succeeded?
Oh God, those are really good questions. Yeah. This is why I asked you to prep me beforehand, and you didn't.
I didn't.
So
I totally didn't
everything
prep
on the fly. What's the first question again?
Do you remember? Tipping point. What do you think? When was the tipping point?
I think probably about a year into it. Yeah, probably about a year into it, where it was like weird, because my husband owns a restaurant. And I didn't really say anything to him. I was like, I just started this group and I was just going about my business. And he's like, what are you doing? I said, I was just starting this little Facebook group. And he's like, all right. And just kind of let me go, shut me up, let him watch EastEnders, and kept me quiet, because I don't watch them. And then he's like, someone came up to me at work today and said, oh, your wife's doing really well. And oh, did they? And he's like, and it started happening more and more. He's like, someone else came in. What are you doing? What are you doing? Right? Yeah. So I'm like telling him, and he's like, and then I phoned a few friends and I said, I'm really enjoying this, and I feel like I'm really good at it. Like, I feel like I found my calling.
Yeah.
Do you think that, I can make anything out of this? Because this is what I'd really like to do. And practically everybody said, no, you can't. Right? It's a Facebook group. It's, it's just not monetizable. So I said, okay, and I carried on working, and then and then I said one day to Sham, I said, I know that something will click somewhere.
Yeah.
And I was really lucky because he's like so supportive.
Excuse me.
Yeah, that's okay.
Thank you.
Have some more.
I will do, thank you.
Okay, he's so supportive, and he's so like, he was like, yeah, don't worry about it. You know what? Make a go of it. I'll give you 6 months. Leave work, give you 6 months. If it doesn't work, go back to work. Of course, it didn't work in 6 months.
Yeah.
It took about 18 months.
It's going to take, whatever you do, it's going to take a long time. Yeah.
Even with that 18 months, he never really pressured me, and he never really made me do anything. So, you know, your support network around you is so important, and that trust.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he thought I was crazy. I still think he thinks that I'm crazy.
So, just
and, you know, and I don't really share a lot with him.
Yeah.
You know, I just leave him to his business. And then I started this blog a few months ago, just taking the best out.
Yeah, which you mentioned, by the way, of the original post.
And so I didn't tell him that I did that either. And then about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I put a post up about veganuary. This is over 18.
Oh, this is over 18s, yeah, only. Yeah. So if you're a youngster listening in right now.
Yeah, so it was a little bit naughty, and somebody had sent it to him on WhatsApp.
Really?
Yeah, and it's like, you know, 1:30 in the morning his phone goes, because I did it quite late, and it like 20 minutes later his phone goes off at 1:30, and I'm like, yeah, I'm texting my husband at 1:30 in the morning, like, you know, was not very impressed. And he's like, oh, and he screenshot it and he showed it to me, and I was like, oh, that's funny. And he's like, yeah. And that's all he said. So I was like, so when he went the next morning, when he was, you know, not in the room, I went into his phone. I was not watching. I wanted to see who wrote it to him. And I was like, and what they said, like if they said anything about me, and it was just like, this is funny. And I was like, okay. And then yesterday he came home and he said, are you doing Take the Best Off? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh my God, my customers were raving about you. And I was like, oh, really?
Oh, bless.
I know. And he's like, yeah, they said that you're really funny. And I was like, oh,
yeah. The funny thing is, he's shocked about that as well. Yeah, he doesn't know his wife's got great sense of
because to be honest, he's the comedian in the family. Like, he always has me laughing, right? So, so I was like, yeah. And then, weirdly enough, because it kind of started on recommendation, so there's mainly women that follow it. And he said, yeah, it was 2 guys. I'm like, excuse me? And so he said, this girl screenshots all your content and just like WhatsApps it to you.
Oh, wicked. That's
and
brilliant.
I was like, that's so awesome. Although they can just follow the page. But, you know, that's good too.
No, but it still spreads, right? Either way.
Yeah, so I came clean yesterday. Yeah, about that. So that's what I'm up to.
So literally, your husband found out about this yesterday. He didn't.
I'm really bad.
No way.
Because I get shy of it. Like I said, and it's like I don't want to kind of. You know, in fact, I didn't even do it.
We're going to get you on stage as a stand-up comedian one day.
No, because like I'm okay writing. I don't know if I'm the same like coming across on stage, but I just you know, it's just that kind of little thing that I do, and I didn't even put it under my name. It's like, but obviously people know that it's me, so they tag me and stuff. But yeah, I'm a bit shy.
Oh, she's shy, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, we just take a quick pause, say hello to everyone who's just joined us as well, and to everyone who joined just joined. Sorry, big pardon that you missed earlier. What we said, Feeling Inspired podcast. I'm Amit Soda, and this is of course the amazing, the wonderful, the delectable, the delightful Zamiha Desai.
My ego is just growing. I'm not going to be shy about it.
Everyone gets treated like that. So whoever comes on my podcast is treated.
Amit did like some coaching with me, and he made me go into a wood.
Yes.
And scream, I am awesome at the top of my voice. It was like the biggest nightmare in the world for me because I'm just sort of like that. I did it to get him off my case. I'm just like,
but did it feel good though?
It did feel good.
Yeah. And look at where you are now. You see, it was that moment. Oh, yeah. That was the tipping point. Yeah. That was the moment.
I have it all to Amit. I'm awesome in Carpenter's Park or wherever we were. Yeah.
No, but just going back to a couple of specifics about the tipping point as well, because I'm sure people are going to be wondering about numbers, and they're going to be, people want to know. The entrepreneurs out there are going to want to know. So you say probably about a year before it really took off.
Yeah.
And then, like, how many people were on the group? And then did it just kind of have like a bit of a, like, that kind of curve, and then it just went?
No, other way around.
Oh, really?
Actually, it went really steep, and then it kind of tailed off.
Okay.
And now it's kind of having little peaks.
Yeah.
So you do get quite good stats, and I think this is one of the things that entrepreneurs probably forget to do is look at what's working, what's not, what are your stats, what are people doing on your website or on your group, what's their behaviors, when are people getting added, and so Facebook algorithms are changing all the time, so it's actually quite hard to track.
Yeah.
But there are certain things that you can see working again and again. So for example, so here's a good tip for people that have got groups: if you add people straight away, it's not as powerful as you wait for the list to build up to like kind of 40 or 50 and add them in one go, because I think it just tells Facebook that there's a flurry of activity.
Yes, yeah, I've noticed that.
Group, yeah. So like there's little things that you can do, but it's worth noticing these things. Even when you post, it's like the time you post, what you're saying in your post, your content, it all on Facebook and Instagram, and I guess Twitter. I'm not much.
Do you know what?
Twitter.
One thing I've learned about Instagram recently as well, again, the time you post is like so pivotal in the kind of engagement you get. And so, like, I've noticed there's certain content, if I post at night, will do really well. Certain content, if I post during the day, will do really well, but that won't do well at night, for example. And so I guess it depends on where your audience is and what they'd like to see at a specific time, or whatever it might be. But it is fundamental. You have to learn, and it's the thing is as well, it's always going to change. You're always going to be playing this cat and mouse game. That's never going anywhere.
Yeah.
But you just got to go with it and see what works, see what doesn't work, and try different things. And you never know. You'll find
you don't.
something that works for you.
With social media, you don't know who's online at the time. You don't know where they are. You don't really know that much. So it can be hit and miss, and I think that's frustrating, because I'm like, how come that posted so well and that one didn't? Like, I don't understand it sometimes, and it's worth. I think that's what the pain in the first year or 2 years of business probably is finding out, where your groove is, what you're good at, what you're lacking, your marketing, and like seeing what other people are doing. And you actually, your first year and a half, well, maybe it's still going on for me, but you just feel like overwhelmed. Like, you've got so much going on, because you've got, your family, your kids, this business that you're building, and then you've got all the admin side, and you get to this position where you've got so much work, but you can't afford to pay anybody to outsource it, and then you're looking at other things to outsource, and then and then of course when you work from home, everyone thinks you're just like having a jolly, and they're like, oh, can you like go to the airport and pick someone up?
Yeah.
And it's like, and then you feel it's the bad saying no, and then it's just like you just get crazy. So it's about like discipline. So I've started this 12-week small networking. So there's 10 of us, and it's like a peer review group. So it's not like networking like you talk about, like traditional networking. It's more work together and build your business and learn from each other and be really honest and upfront and constructively criticize what's going on. It's been really good. Like products have been
2 weeks so far, it's been going, or 3 weeks?
3 weeks, and it's like little changes like make such a big difference. And have you read Atomic Habits?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's that kind of, that's how we started. It's like, let's make a little change and see if it can make a big difference, and it does. And so with me, my thing was, one, as soon as I get a junk email, I unsubscribe straight away. So it like literally takes seconds. Yeah, no, but it's such a, your inbox, when you look at it and then you've got this crap in it for some reason that you've subscribed to, or maybe
it's like being a digital hoarder, isn't it? You can't collect all the stuff you don't need it, right? I still am clearing out mine as well. It does make a difference. Yeah, and so if it adds value, great. But if it doesn't, just unsubscribe. And if you ever need it again, you can always resubscribe. It's not like the end of the world. And the other thing is shutting the door. So when I go into my office, I tend like to leave the door open, which means like
Can I have a cup of tea? Mum, can you like help me with this? But when the door's shut, it actually sends quite a clear message like, dude, I'm working.
Can you won't be able to see this, but can you see over there with a sign, right? So I haven't put it up yet, but yeah, we did kind of get that sign for me. So, you know,
What does the sign say?
It says man cave.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was Nidhi bought that for me. We bought that in Vegas, and she goes, you know, anytime you need your time, just stick that up on the door, and you know she'll know then as well. So yeah, so it's good, but it's good. I think it's a great little productivity tip as well, because it doesn't matter. Because I think one thing that Nidhi and I joke about is that, you know, like she's a typical bloke, right? As
She's
I am.
a typical bloke.
No, me, typical bloke as I am. Sorry, no, she's not a typical bloke. She hasn't had a change at any point in her life, but she's I'm a typical bloke. Like I will just, you know, work through lunch, eat rubbish, right? Whereas she will think ahead. She'll think, right, what do you want for lunch? You know, what would you like? I'll make it, etc., etc. Whereas I would just be quite satisfied just having a bit of junk and then that's it, right? Especially if I'm in the zone. But you know, so then it just straight away distracts me, and then we end up going making lunch, and we end up having a, you know, proper sit down meal and whatever. And then by that time it's all done. That's at least an hour gone and stuff. And then I'm thinking in my head, I could have spent an hour working. And but it's so from that perspective, I think to myself, it's good because then she knows that actually I'm in the zone. I can just crack on and do what I want to do, and I'll just eat whenever, you know, like, you know, food's not that important, is it really? But
You're
yeah.
not when you're in a vegan diet.
Yeah, I don't lie. You were making some great dishes as well. But before we continue, actually, before we get back to the second part of your question, the question as well. By the way, anyone out there watching as well, if you want to pose any questions to this lovely, lovely, lovely Zamiha Desai about any of the stuff that she's done, she is doing, or is planning to do, or you want to do something with, then you know what, post the question up as well, and we'll read it out very shortly. And then I just thought we'd just take a bit of a segue moment, and we just kind of share how we met, because that was quite a funny story as well. So we were at a. Do you want to tell that actually?
No.
No, you're the guest, actually.
No. Yeah, I want to hear your version.
Actually, all right. So this is the version I've been telling people.
Then I'll tell you the truth.
Is about to get just dissected, right? So now we were at a networking event, and I think it was November 2016-ish.
It was exactly.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, see, not I remember, but I do remember that day though. It was a very good networking event. We were both there. We were sitting on different tables, so the way it was spread out was almost like wedding style, you know, little round tables, and everyone was and everyone was like on these various tables, and they had little things to do with people on their table. And then once the event had finished, Zam, I think you'd heard about me. And
yeah, because you know he's a big deal, right?
Yeah, of course, a massive deal. I mean, very big deal. You know, in physically and in, you know, in the world of showbiz. But so she kind of wanted to catch up with me, and then I was flitting around the room like speaking to different people. And every time she tried to catch up with me, I'd move on to someone else, and then she. And then eventually we caught up, and then that's how we met. And then from there spawned ConnectAsian as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was again.
That wasn't a very exciting story, though, was it? There's no like real drama to how we met.
I need to work on my storytelling. This is where I need to improve a little bit as well. Really cool. I should have added in some like real juice.
You want a bit of too much.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So you know, she came up to me, she pinched my butt. You know. No, she didn't. He's watching now. No, she didn't. No, she didn't. But yes, yeah. I think I will add a bit more spice to this next time. Have you got any makeup right now from your taking the best up?
No, but I'll probably like write one tonight and like post it tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
The real
someone on WhatsApp it to me the screenshot. I was like, hey, have you seen this? This is hilarious. I'll be like, it's about me. No, but anyway, it was a good. I think it was a starting point of a beautiful relationship actually, and like we kind of then ConnectAsian started, of course, as well. And the funny thing was, the ConnectAsian is the singles group of the RecommendAsian family. And I've just been kicked out of a few singles groups as well, because I was trying to, share my message and help people on their dating journey. And every time I tried to do that, people would just kick me out of their groups. And so I thought, okay, it's high time I just start my own one now, because otherwise it's just never going to work. And then that was the moment I bumped into you. So then it all fell into place very nicely.
And now he's the one that kicks everybody else out.
I do, yeah. For which I take a lot of stick. So much stick, I tell you. You have no idea. But it's true, actually, when you were talking about the work. Because the thing is, I was going to say when you were saying it, that with this stuff, you very rarely get a chance to switch off. It's one message or another, or moderating comments, or moderating the forums, or replying to people, putting up anonymous posts, and all the rest of it. And it's non-stop. Even in ConnectAsian as well. Like, there's always something or another that comes through for that.
Yeah, but I think we're very lucky in terms of the recommendation family of groups.
Yeah,
we
definitely.
have great admins. We have good rapport with each other. We understand what's going on. And actually, as much as we need new help, it's quite hard having someone that gets it like straight away, because there's so many little nuances in what people like they try to get away with, or they don't understand, or they need a little bit more guidance. And everyone's unique and everyone's an individual, and we try and service as best we can, but we do get really, really stretched, and especially with the anonymous posts and things like that. And it's like there's so much taboo and secrecy with Asian families. I don't know if you get a lot of anons in ConnectAsian, but we do in PA and RA. And I think that was part of the reason like I started taking the fest up, because I just want people to think it's all right to talk about stuff. Like, I mean, I talk about all sorts of shit. Like I talk about farting and sex and dildos and just like mad stuff and I talk about like normal stuff as well. I'm just saying, but some of it's a little bit out there, and it's a little bit not the kind of thing that you normally talk about. But it's okay to talk about that, because it all happens, right? It's normal, and people are just shying away from stuff, and they're like, oh, I don't want people to know. But some things, it's better actually if you post yourself. And then with anonymous posts, I mean they're great, because I think a lot of women get a lot of help, and that is the response to some of them is the thing that makes me proudest about the groups, because people are so giving of their advice and their knowledge, and even if they don't know what to say, they're like there listening, and they're like, I wish I could help. I'm sending you a hug.
Or even someone sees it and thinks, oh my God, someone else is going through what I'm going through.
Yeah, and that's another big thing. Yeah. It's like, then I get a lot of inboxes saying, you know what, I really resonated with that post, or I wouldn't have been able to get through this divorce or this bad time in my life, or this grief or loss or whatever, if it wasn't for those kind of posts. So they're really, they're really important to us. But I do wish that people would also think, okay, because I don't think that if you say that you're going through a hard time, that anyone's really going to judge you for it. I think they're more likely to empathize, well, that's what I hope. I mean, that's what I would like the world to be, that you kind of get it with each other. It's not just a piece of gossip, it's somebody's life, and you should be there to help empower them if you can.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And again, this is part of it as well, as the you started actually, like you said, right? No, it wasn't necessarily you were seeking help, but actually sharing something, and then that's where it's come from, is that people have realized, actually I can share this, what's happened to me, and it helps other people. And I think that nicely leads on to the second question, which was about where do you think, or why do you think yours has failed where others have not, in terms of...
Mine hasn't failed.
No, so yours succeeded where others have failed. Like, I'm glad someone's awake. She's awake, definitely.
I don't know that anybody's failed as such. I think, like I said, I think a lot of it is around intention.
Yeah.
And I
fail is a strong word, but having an impact.
Yeah, well, I do think if something is self-serving, then it doesn't have the same vibe in it. And so I guess some of it is down to like an admin or creator's mindset. Some of it might be down to like the team, and some of it might be just down to priorities. I mean, at the end of the day, it's very hard to earn money from a Facebook group, and if it's taking up hours and hours of your time, it means that hours of your time is being taken away from either your work or your family. And I think at some point, maybe the priority is, as much as you want to help other people, you also need to help yourself. And so sometimes I find myself, I mean, I do on the admin thing, saying, look, I need a break. I need a few hours or a day to myself. Can you guys just be a bit more active on the group, and everybody helps, and I think it is a real team effort. But I think you do need to get that balance, and I don't think you can be like really selfish about it either. It's like, you know, you've got people that will help you. Like, don't be too much of a dictator about it. Just get everybody's feedback, and you know, if you've got like your mission statement and you know what you want to do with the group, and that might formulate over time, and it can change and it can evolve, but you kind of need to know where you're going on it. And I think I think any group can be picked up again. I don't think any group will fail, because people are joining it because they're like-minded. And that's what groups are. They're a community of people that are like-minded. And I think as long as you can engage that like-mindedness, and stay true to the purpose, then I think you'll do well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a good message. And yeah, you're right. Sorry, when I said fail, I didn't mean fail literally. I meant just in terms of where people have wanted to reach a certain milestone or something, but they're struggling to get there and they're wondering why.
Because what's their motive? The thing is,
Exactly.
It doesn't actually, the numbers don't matter. It's the quality of engagement that matters. I mean, I've seen some groups with like hundreds of thousands of people, and to be honest, they don't interest me, because it's not the kind of content that I can connect to. And I think with RA, with PA, it's really niche. We're not trying to please everybody. We're just trying to do, you know, good for Asian businesses and good for like Asian consumers, where they can find stuff that is, you know, relatable in their lives. And with RecommendAsian, it's supporting women, and they don't have to be Asian, but it's just understanding the culture around, you know, Indian, Pakistani, Bangladeshi people, and you know, being able to relate to each other on that level. And that's why it's like an Asian thing. It's not like a let's exclude anyone who's not Asian, because that's not what we're about. But it's nice to be understood as an Asian woman, to understand what you know, the family structure is, how the relationships are with the in-laws and with the extended family, and what your traditional place is. And you know, we want to also like move on from that as well, and keep pushing women forward and empowering them. So we have a very specific niche, and I think that works. I think the moment you say, I want a lot more people, let's try and include this and include that, and like cater for everyone, is when the people that are there for the niche are going to switch off, and then everybody, then the message gets confused.
Yeah, absolutely. Like to ask Sam, with lots of anon posts, lots of like abuse, depression. Do you have any members at your organization who direct them into the right path and help also the like welfare team? I always think about what happens to a person after they post. They get looked after, followed up, etc.
So
good question, by the way, Jane. Very good question.
In some cases, in most cases actually, we do give them, like, I don't know if you remember, in December, Seema and I did a live together on RecommendAsian, and she is like my go-to person. She really knows her stuff. She works with like domestic victims of domestic abuse, and Henny's another one that I will go to as well. So there are people that I think are really good. I went to a seminar myself to try and learn how to relate to people, and I think with Seema, that's something that I'd quite like to roll out amongst the members generally. So it's a bit of a difficult one. I know people expect us to have some kind of I can't remember the word. We don't have any like official role to help people, but I point them in the right direction. Seema calls them, or they can call Seema, whichever way it works. And a lot of them actually don't get posted. And she really helps them behind the scenes, and she's there for them all the time, and we're really grateful to her. So yeah, so we'll try and do more and more regarding this, and I think with what Seema's course that she's constructing, we can actually help a lot more people and understand a lot more people. But yeah, it's difficult because they want to remain anonymous. We don't ourselves know very much about them, only what they choose to share on Facebook. But we give them as much as we can. We've posted before all the helpline numbers. I've literally got that at the top of my WhatsApp messages, so I'll cut and paste domestic abuse numbers, and there's a whole load of them depending on what kind of abuse they're facing. So we do what we can.
Yeah, that's amazing. And the thing is as well, like the question mentioned, actually, that you mentioned quite a few things, and there's no one size fit all as well. If it's all like you talked about domestic abuse, but you talked about, and the question was about depression and stuff, and not going to be one person who could deal with everything as well. And I think just the most important thing is being equipped to point people in the right direction and making sure that they get the help they need. There's only so much anyone can do and the layperson can do. But just the first step is always putting them in the right direction, get the right help, and I think that's the most important thing, the most fundamental thing you can do.
Yeah.
There's so much variety, so much nuance, and depression is different to domestic abuse, and requires a different skill set, different knowledge base, and so it's always going to be different no matter what it is. And there's so many varieties of the questions you get as well. It's just
and it's really, and you can't, you just can't help everybody. And the thing is, what I always say is, if you're depressed, if you have, if your mental health is suffering, it doesn't mean that you're not without intellect. I think, if you've got a mental health problem, you're not necessarily stupid. You just have a problem with one area of your life. And so when people respond, then I think people actually do filter out, and this is what we say, is filter out what works for you. And because not everybody gives like different advice, and you have to take what works for you and go with it. Everybody has different perceptions of things. They come from different backgrounds. They have different experiences. Their realities are just different. And I think you have to just go with what works for you and not get sidetracked by ifs and whats and other people's issues. Just look out for yourself. And I think that those that are feeling down or suicidal, or they're like in deep grief and stuff, I think, like, again, Seema's helped with quite a lot of it, Henny's helped with quite a lot of it, but I do think that some of the ladies, when they respond, one, you can see that they have also gone through it, and just that kind of sisterhood and camaraderie that, like you said earlier, I'm not the only one. It happens to everybody. It's kind of comforting to know, and they offer to talk to each other and be there for each other, and they will have that kind of connection. It's amazing how giving people are.
Yeah, absolutely. So leading on from that nicely to the next question as well, what are the kind of big challenges have you faced along the way creating this empire? I'm going to call it an empire now. I think it is an empire now she's created. So what would you say has been the biggest challenges you've faced? We just discussed one, obviously, which is obviously having a major level of responsibility. But aside from that, I'm sure probably tons anyway. But for you in your mind, what's been your biggest obstacles, challenges, how you've overcome them?
Because I love it so much, I don't really see a lot of challenges. I just see it as like a host of opportunities, and I think that's what my frustration is, that there's so much we can do, and sometimes I think I just don't have the time or the resources or anything to be able to actually do something like solid. And it's like, it sounds weird, but sometimes getting people's commitment is really hard. They're all like, oh, this is a good idea, that's a good idea, but it involves their time, and I think time is a really expensive commodity at the moment. And it's a resource that is required, but it's so hard to get. The number of times we said, oh, let's do this initiative or let's do that initiative, and everyone's like, yeah, and then when it comes to bums on seats, it's a lot harder. And so I've had to, like, even the networking side of things, like, we started off really strong. It got more and more difficult, not because there wasn't any value, there was like loads of value, but I think people just get so busy. And we never asked for like a big £1,000 commitment up front. It was literally like £10 pay as you go. So we didn't ask for that commitment up front, and sometimes I think that meant that people thought, well, it's raining today, I'm not going to come. And so getting that time commitment is probably the hardest thing. And which is why I think this small peer groups and stuff, it's working because you build real relationships with each other, and it's not too big, it's not overwhelming, and you're not sat there, for ages and ages not getting any value, just listening to the same thing over and over again. So so it's just trying different things out and seeing what's working. But yeah, I haven't thought, oh, this is a real challenge. I just thought, how am I going to get this done? And coordinate everything. And sometimes it's just you're waiting on, so many different parts of the puzzle to come together.
Yeah.
And I think, so I think things probably take me a bit longer because, I want everything to be just right. And then
she is
obviously a bit of a control freak as well, obviously, because I don't tend to hand it over. So if anybody wants to, a little project on the side.
Yeah. So not only is she a perfectionist, but also a control freak as well. That's a dangerous combination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not good, is it?
Yeah. I look at something like Hey Gorgeous, and I think to myself, we live in style.
See, Hey Gorgeous, I love. I love it.
Great.
I love it. It's
amazing.
like my favourite part of the year. It's just, seeing all these businesses. So for those who don't know, so we've got these two groups, RecommendAsian, Professional Asian, and Professional Asian obviously has these amazing services and products and clothes and jewelry and people that build your houses and do your extensions and do your tiles and do your flooring and then the home decor and people that do amazing art
or hang your TV or this or life coaches. There's some amazing life coaches. On PA as well. Yeah, there's all sorts though, isn't there?
Yeah, so there's just such a rich. It's just such a rich tapestry of just amazing products and people, and then we've got this Asian community that are crying out for they don't want to go to Amazon and buy their Ganesh Murti. They want to go to someone like Muslim and buy it, and so we're bringing these people together. So these amazing people in RA that are interested in all this stuff that these amazing people in PA have. So for me, it's just the best synergy. It's like getting the two groups together and really gelling, and everyone's happy because they're getting access to things that is so hard to get on the high street, and they can, if they're buying clothes, they can see the material, they can feel it, they can, they're buying perfumes, they can smell them, and, if they're buying beauty products, they can try them, and, the Ayurvedic and, Reiki infused stuff, and there's so much that is so amazing. So that again doesn't feel like work, although if it was something that I didn't love so much, it probably would.
Yeah, of course.
And also,
I think from the outside, though, looking in and seeing it, looks like a lot of work to set up and stuff.
But that's the thing. That's where really good partnerships really work. So Upesh from Avari, he does all the logistics and a lot of the admin, and basically I do all the kind of connecting with people. So we're both playing to our strengths, and what we're good at and what we're bad at, the other person is the opposite.
Yeah.
Right. So mine and Upesh's synergy is perfect. We get on really well. We don't talk to each other all year, and then we're on the phone 5 times a day during Hey Gorgeous. And there's WhatsApps going every 2 minutes. But it's just, if you do go into a collaborative venture, it's really important that actually you're not too similar, that you're quite different, and that you can play off each other's strengths and fulfill each other's weaknesses. And I think that is the reason why I think Hey Gorgeous works well, because it's just a good balance.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, just one quick message, because it was a really nice one. She said, it's Piro Raja, and she said, you have real authenticity about you, and you are so articulate with your thoughts and your mission. It's absolutely refreshing to hear. Aww. Keep up the great work. Not just RIP, the TTP has me belly chuckling most days as well.
Oh, thank you.
TTP is taking the piss out of me. Anyone doesn't know what piss out is, means you could write your word for piss. So yeah, taking the piss. But there you go. So yeah. And of course,
That's so nice.
the next one is coming up as well, right? Hey, gorgeous.
Yeah, March 28th, 29th.
And I'll be there on the front desk as well and welcoming everyone, because you know she always insists that there's a really handsome, gorgeous person there to welcome everybody.
Yeah, so behind your fish.
Yeah, behind that, behind me, there'll be a fish, and he'll be, you know, welcoming everybody. So, no, I think it's beautiful. And one of the things that I was going to say, by the way, you were talking there as well, which came to mind was that, you know, Hey Gorgeous as well. It's such a nice vibe. It reminds me almost of like an old school Indian bazaar and peak season. And, you know, because it knows it's there only for a day or two. So everyone's there raring, like, you know, what can I find? This, that, the other. And it's such a nice vibe. And I think everyone kind of works collaboratively and, you know, just honestly, it's such a refreshing feel that you don't get from going to the shops and buying online.
And I think that's another thing that has evolved. So it's a lot different to when we started. So like this year we've got iDream Development sponsoring it, and we've got like quite a big, it's like a bit like Ideal Home Show, some of it. So well, before it was kind of 80% fashion and jewelry, now it's like 30% fashion and jewelry, 30% home and decor, and there's something for the guys, something for the kids, you know, then we've got like the well-being stuff, and so we've got more and more variety in what we do, and more and more for like different types of people. And last year I think we found that on Saturday it was a lot of women, but on Sunday they all came back and dragged their husbands.
You did
see that.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
there
absolutely.
was a lot more men there, which was great because it just showed that, you know, we're going in the right direction. And I think if you are an entrepreneur and you have this like 5-year plan, I think you need to be willing to kind of shift and change and like observe what's going on and like move with it and try different things. And so one thing we do with Hey Gorgeous is every year we repeat what's worked well, we ditch what didn't work well, and we replace it with something else. So there is a portion of the budget that we do kind of play with. It's like our kind of gambling money. It could pay off and it could not. But let's try this and see how successful it is. And so sometimes it works really well, sometimes it doesn't. But at least we know, and we can go forward, and we're building because we're learning from what happened before.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's so much scope with what you can do with this whole event, and you know, and each one just keeps on getting better and better, and it's so much fun. And like I said, buzzing, food, the ambiance, everything is just so cool. I think you've done a fantastic job with it. I'm just going to drop in one comment from Al. He said, "Amit, so do you, rock too," and I didn't even pay him to say that. I mean, that's just cool. It's nice to get one or two nice comments as well. It's not just talking about Zamiha. Oh, I'm here as well. No.
Well, Al rocks though, doesn't he?
Al rocks as well. He does. He definitely rocks as well. He welcomes everyone to ConnectAsian. He makes sure no one goes unmentioned or whatever, or you know, doesn't get one of his, you know, good luck in your search messages. And he's always on it. I don't know a single time. I don't know how he does it. He's always on it. And there's me. I disappear for a couple of days and then I come back and he's still comments and comments and comments. So thank you very much for that, Al, and to all the team as well. They're all amazing, absolutely amazing. To my wife as well. Of course, this wouldn't be possible without my wife, my lovely wife, who's the only one who's clicking the emoji right now as well. She loves me.
Oh, yeah, go do some work.
Bless
get dinner.
No, carry on.
Make the
We had dinner.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, we have dinner by well early nowadays, so we try and eat nice and early. So that's our dinners now done.
And so do you not eat for the rest of the evening?
No, that's it now. So we had dinner, by 6:30?
Okay.
And that's it. That's our dinner.
And so how's this like regime go, this healthy eating?
It's going pretty well. Yeah, I have my moments. where it's not going so well. But it's getting there. Are you interviewing me now?
Yeah.
So yes, the American training is going well.
Because I don't know what you guys think, but I think that we should do like a bit of a taking the piss off podcast.
Oh yeah, I think so as well.
Do you think so?
I think so, definitely.
What would you talk about?
Anything like the
Would
stuff.
you be like shy?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No.
Like, would you talk about like I'm talking and everything?
The what? The what? What did you say?
You've not been reading the page, man.
No. The what though? Oh, no. I think no.
You wouldn't.
No, not because I'm shy. I would.
Because Nianti's like she's a bit of a goer, and
she's and the thing is as well, so she wants her privacy, and that's absolutely fine. But I'm quite open about things. Anything else I would talk about.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I would.
So what would be like your subject of choice?
What's a good one? What would you talk about? Do you know what I do think is quite funny though? It's just how we have fallen into the typical male female roles, husband and wife things, you know, the little things that you do. For example, like I get really annoyed when she puts the toilet roll a certain way and it goes down the back, and I then go and switch it around so that the toilet roll comes around the front.
Well, okay, we've had this on recommendation, and you really should know better because it needs to be away from the wall.
Yes, it needs to be away. Yes, you heard that right.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that she does as well, which is like, you know, again, it's just typical husband wife Barney stuff that we have. She will squeeze the toothpaste from the middle. And that really annoys me every time. I have to do it from the end, right? And the other day it was so funny as well. The toilet, like in that bathroom over there, there's a toilet roll.
I don't think it's the bloke in this relationship.
No,
you're the woman.
No, she's
yes,
not. No.
Because that's kind of a bit of a.
It's so funny. The toilet rolls are stacked on top of each other. So the one in use is at the top, right? So we don't have a holder roll, but they're stacked up on this holder. And so what she'd done was she left a little bit on. She leaves the last bit of toilet roll. It's like the bit at the end of the coffee that you don't drink. She left this and she put it underneath and put the fresh one on top. So there's this big gap.
Well, why would she do that though?
That's just what she does.
Why doesn't she just recycle it?
She honestly, look.
What happens to that one thing? Well, that one sheet.
That's the thing.
Like, nobody's going to use it because it will go through, isn't it?
No, they won't. You just blend it into the new roll.
Yes, you do.
Fine, see? Yeah. Just, you know, little things that I think, you know, nuances like that. That's funny.
Well, I think she's the bloke.
Maybe. No, I think I'm there.
Does she leave the toilets here?
No. We're both good like that. And the cover comes down.
And the cover.
That's my bugbear. When people come to the house and they leave it up, I'm like.
Well, do you know? Actually, you're supposed to put it down before you flush it.
Yeah, I do.
Because
I put it
when
down
you
and then I flush.
Then the germs come up and they all kind of spray into
I'm not a germaphobe, but I like the habit. Close it and then you flush.
Do you have like a soft close?
No, they're not. These ones are not. You know, we've got a new house and they didn't give us soft close. I mean, do you know how annoying? Do you know how many times at the beginning when we first moved in, I was like trying to put it down, it just.
So when we went to where did we go? We went on holiday, Budapest, and we went to the Buda Bar hotel. That was when we stayed. It was really nice. Yeah. Went on a girls' weekend, and they had those toilets that had a remote control, and it washes you.
Oh no! It washes you.
Yes. So you can say if you're a male or a female, so that the jet directs to the right place.
Very important.
Yeah, and if you want it like it kind of.
But anyway, wouldn't there be separate male and female, or was it unisex?
No, it's in the bedroom.
Oh, in the bedroom. I beg your pardon. Sorry, you're not. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of restaurant.
Sorry, control panel.
Okay.
And then it kind of shot the water up.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really nice. It's been my dream. I haven't been in the bathroom.
It's been my dream of a bidet.
And it dries you.
No.
Yeah, so then you press a little button and the air comes up. And
are you serious?
Yeah.
You know, that's where
so that's quite environmentally friendly.
That's very
good. You don't need to do toilet roll.
That's so cool. Yeah, because toilet roll is useless anyway. Let's face it, they don't do it in India. Someone sent me a really funny video today as well, and it was just someone like a guy obviously just done poopy, and someone's in the river just splashing water at his bum.
Oh my god!
With a really romantic song.
Oh my god.
Hey, I don't know. How am I embarrassing you? You're the one who's doing the taking the best.
Because that's like crazy. Like I'm just like trying to like. Ooh, no.
I've never seen Jay saying that she's seen that in hotels before, but I've not seen that in a hotel before. That's
you
new
need
to
to
me.
take your missus to Budapest, but you might not see her for a couple of hours. She'll be on the Kazi.
I would as well. I'm literally just
You might need to go from each.
I'm telling you, I'm literally just. I'd love that. It's always my dream to have a bidet. So.
Okay.
Have we just started taking the piss podcast? Feel Inspired is over now. It's going to be the taking the piss up. Taking the inspired piss up. So I think you should do it though. See, there's loads to talk about.
Yeah, there is actually.
Yeah, there's time to talk about. Yeah, so you watch the space because you could be seeing Zam doing
anybody wants to be on it as well, that's my guess.
Oh yeah, I mean you're gonna have like a plethora of people, aren't you?
Yeah.
I think you definitely try and get Tommy on there to start with. There's loads of good comedians out there as well. I mean, I would happily.
Tommy's even listening, but that would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I would happily come on, but I don't want to show anyone, how it's done and stuff. I don't want anyone else to feel bad and.
Yeah, don't worry, we won't. You go, man.
Gardy's there as well. Hello, welcome. So if anyone's joined,
Paul, I don't care about Paul.
Yeah, how's Paul?
Is Paul there? Paulie, hello.
As for anyone who's just joined, by the way, the Feel Inspired podcast, I'm Amit Soda. If you're wondering, who the hell is this dude anyway? Unless everyone knows who she is. Anyway, she's the celebrity now. And anyone listening to the replay, of course, on the podcast platforms as well. So obviously we're streaming live, which is why you're hearing all this extra commentary on top as well. But there we go. So couple of quick questions then for you to finish.
Mm-hmm.
So what's one big thing that you can reveal in the pipeline that you're working on? If you can.
One big thing in the pipeline. Well, I've given the kind of podcast thing away. See, I can't because it's all like top secret.
Is it? Oh, okay. I don't know, but I have no idea. So
we are rebranding and we are getting a new website.
Lovely.
And it's actually going to be like a professional agent.co.uk.
Nice.
Yeah, so we've still got RecommendAsian, and professional Asian is going to be a little different.
Sweet.
Yes, and so that is, I don't want to say too much about that, but that's happening. What's happening? And just kind of a few little things. You know, there was a really nice post yesterday. Well, it wasn't nice. It was sad, but the response was really nice. And there was a lady who was feeling really down about herself. She just come out of a marriage. She's got 2 kids. She was feeling very alone.
Such a common story in this area.
Yeah, and she was she's not like feeling very confident. And she said she used to be kind of like, you know, on top of the world, like pristine and everything. And I think, you know, in a marriage that isn't, you know, working out, and you feel like you're a shadow of yourself. I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but you feel like, you know, you're not who you were, and you change so slowly over time. But it's like one day you look in the mirror and maybe your husband's not with you anymore, or, you know, things aren't going, things are just going from bad to worse, and you literally don't recognize yourself, and you're like, who is this? Where have I gone? You know, I've put on weight, my skin is not as nice, I'm not feeling bubbly, I'm not feeling like I used to go out and go places, and I used to go for walks, and now I'm just like at home cooking and cleaning, and like I don't like take care of myself anymore, you know, because you don't have the time, you don't have the money, whatever the reason. You know, I think everyone goes through a little bit of that, if not all of it, but a little bit of that at some point, you know, in their marriage, even if it's a good marriage. I think that, you know, there are bits that you just think, hang on, I never used to do that. That's not me. And I think she was feeling like, you know, her marriage was over and she was just in this rut, and she just doesn't know how to get out of it. And it was like amazing. I think we had about 250 comments, offering help, offering makeup, offering self-care stuff, offering lessons, you know, CV writing, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, that's like amazing, like 250 people just offering support. And to be honest, it would have been more, but it was quite overwhelming, I think, for her as well. So I did turn the comments off, and I arranged to meet her. So I'm seeing her on Saturday, and I think actually, you know, I want to help her, but I think we need to help a lot of women that are in this situation, that need just that boost, you know. And it's like all these ladies offering their, you know, clothes that are unworn, or, you know, things that, you know, are almost new, and that they could wear to work, or they can wear for interviews, and like hair dye and stuff like that. And I just think, well, there must be so many women. Maybe we should, obviously this one lady isn't going to be able to like wear all those clothes. I don't know what size she is. I don't know, you know, what colouring she is. I don't know what her style is. But there must be people that if there are these women willing to kind of help other women, then maybe we could do like a kind of little care package for those that want to kickstart. There were some people offering to do a GoFundMe page, but I'm very much, let's not like make it into a charity thing. Let's like teach a man to fish, right? And like let's if people are offering like career building and CVs and stuff, why don't we just offer it across the board and let everybody benefit? It's the same content probably. So even like dressing, I think Germany a few months, well, maybe about a year or so ago, did like a whole thing about how to dress so that you look like a little bit slimmer and you walk a little bit taller, and there are so many things that we can share with each other. So I mean, that kind of initiative I'd really like to do is just help the members of the community connect with each other and help each other. If things are going to go to waste and somebody else can use them and give them that boost, then I think that's that's a good thing. But I'd want it to be kind of a bit controlled, because I don't want some like rando going to some random's house and like, here you go, he's like a care package. I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So I think we have to do it with some responsibility. So that's the kind of thing I think I'd like to do, and I think it would help people. And like, it doesn't really cost anybody anything. It's time.
Yeah, that sounds amazing as well. It reminds me a little bit of like the basket brigade type of thing. They just give food and stuff, but you could do something different for people who are who've gone through something like that.
Yeah, and I think if a woman wants to like up her self-confidence, she can, like, women and men, we can conquer the world. We just need to believe that we can. And sometimes it just takes that physical shift. It's like, when they say that if you go into a room and you should just like, if you want to be a bit more confident, all you need to do is change your state. Maybe put your shoulders back, put your head up higher, and you'll automatically feel like, yeah, I can conquer this room. You feel like that all the time, because you're like,
yeah. I do actually.
It's like this. Yeah. Whereas I'm like, hi. Yeah. So, but you change your state, and I think that's all we need to do, is we just need to help, other women just take that first step, change their state, change the way that they, that they perceive themselves, recognize that they can stand tall and be someone and conquer the room if they need to, and if they want to. But let's empower them to do that.
Yeah. No, I think that's a beautiful thing what you just said, and I think and actually, to be honest, you probably just hit the nail on the head of what it's all about. What it's been about from the beginning is to build a community, help each other, and because let's face it, life is tough enough as it is, and without us all trampling over each other, let's reverse a bit of that and help each other. And especially people who are going through a really tough time like that individual you mentioned, and I think what you've done is a beautiful thing.
I mean, to be fair, it's not really me. I mean, I'm in a fortunate position that I can coordinate it, but actually, it's the women on the group. I read your comments, and that inspires me. When I first read the post, I'm like, wow, I kind of empathized, but I wasn't thinking proactively, right? And it's you women that taught me, in this case, that we can do something proactive with it, and I can do that, right? And it's like, well, why don't we just do it? They're all like, they're teaching me all the time, the way they are, the way they respond to things. They say things that I never thought of. Sometimes they have a go at me for like posting stuff, because to be honest, I just didn't think of stuff like that. That this impact is like that. I'm learning every single day, and so RecommendAsian does as much for me as it does for any of the members.
Yeah. But you put the platform there, and it's being used for good.
I thought of the name when I created the group, but really everyone put each other there. I've never marketed it. Outside of my 219 members, I've not added anybody. Right? It's members adding other members, and they're growing it. And then I see it grow, like in, it's quite big in London, but I can see the growth in like Birmingham and Leicester, and like slowly up to Manchester, and even a few people in Glasgow. And like it would be great if that growth could continue, because like obviously the more women that help each other, the better.
Absolutely.
But it's a team effort. It's the members of the group that make the group, and maybe that's one of the things why people don't do so well, because they forget that they actually aren't, you know, what makes the group. It's the people that are in it that make the group. It's the way that they interact and the way that they care about each other.
Absolutely, yeah. And one last question for you then. Are you ready for it? Yeah, I know it's a bit of a tough one, but it's been a long time, right? And probably should have millions. But one standout moment for you from this whole thing, from when the day it began to now, one standout moment that's kind of made you just smile, just made you think, wow, I've done a good thing. Not I've done a good thing, but you know what I mean? I'm so glad this has happened the way it has, whatever it might be.
See, this is why you should prep me for interviews. I can't.
Even if I prepped you, I wouldn't have prepped you with that question.
There are so many things that you just feel like so proud of, and it could be just like little things. I don't think I can think of it like a standout moment. Like, I've been asked to speak at some great places like Women Empowered, and you know, obviously like partial mental therapy and you, and that always makes me feel good. And I think when my mum says that she's proud of me, that makes me feel good. And it's like, the other day I was at my mom. I'm Smiley, and so my Jamaat Khana is at Queensbury. So I was at the mosque, and somebody came up to me, and so Raheem, one of my friends, had given a talk to, like, I didn't realise how big it was, but some of the leaders in the mosque and some of the committee members, and he'd used RecommendAsian as a way that somebody'd used tech to create a big impact. And it's like, I had people coming up to me saying, "Oh, you're Zamiha Desai," and I'm like, yeah, like, it's weird because I'm going to the mosque to pray, right? I didn't really like expect that. And it's like when people, you know, they're kind of like quite proud of you, and that's always nice. I mean, I like that as well. I think my first take gorgeous when I think seeing a queue of people outside, that was like, oh my God, I do not believe that there's a queue. Like, it was crazy. Like, it was at the Hive back then, because we didn't have as many exhibitors as we do now. And there was Camrose Avenue was just crazy. Like, people were like, couldn't go down the road. Like, it was like completely roadblocked like that.
Oh, so you caused the traffic that day?
Yeah, I did cause the traffic that day, and you know, I think it's just that stuff that happens that you're not expecting. And I know that I'm going to go home and think of like a whole load of more like standout moments, because you know what, there have been so many, you know, and we're so blessed. Yeah. You know, we're so blessed with the people that we have in our groups. You know.
Sorry, big one. That's me.
Listening to myself.
Yeah. Excuse me. Right. Yeah.
Has anyone said anything else?
They're all saying lovely things about you. Zamiha, we're all so proud of you. You are an angel, and we love you.
Oh, yeah. Who was that?
That was a lovely Kajal.
Thanks. Oh, was it Paul or Kajal?
Probably Paul type in the comment, actually. Yeah. Okay. Tell us the truth. No,
that's another thing we've got coming up, because Kajal's going to be part of it. So
yeah,
we do have a little something in the group as well. Yeah, so we have some showcase subject matter experts that are going to be helping women in video posts to like regarding different things. So we've got Ashish, a fertility expert, coming on board. We've got Deep from Opulence Events, telling you how to plan your wedding and parties. We've got Kajal, and I don't want to ruin the surprise. And hopefully Paul will be part of that video too.
Nice. Lovely, though.
We're a bit obsessed. So Paul's got a celebrity status in RecommendAsian.
Oh, I bet he has.
He really does. Like,
being married to Kajal, I was right. I'm kidding. I'm joking.
Well, I think maybe he's celebrity because they're not married yet. Are they? Engaged?
They're getting married though, right?
Yeah. That's it. So he's still like fair game, right?
Oh. You should be so nice to you. And then you say that. Oh, Kajal, that's it, right? You send us some hate. I don't want to stay down now.
She knows that I'm joking.
No.
I love Kajal.
Yeah. Well, I think Paul is going to be there. So thank you, Amit. So definitely Kajal writing, by the way, just so you know. Good. That's so cool, though. I love that. And the thing is, as well, video is such a powerful medium as well to help people.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it's something a bit different. And again, it's like I don't do a lot of like recommendation isn't really like a kind of self-promotion platform, but we have handpicked some people that we know that will provide value to members of the group, and and we've even got like an interior designer, talking about how to set stuff and style stuff and things like that. So like again, I don't want to give too much away, but I think it will be really nice, kind of good value add, and you've got the opportunity to ask questions, and we've got a follow-up video, and I think it's a really, really nice kind of thing to have in the group.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. Sounds like a great little
again,
project.
women helping women. I don't like these swivelly chairs.
You kind of literally right.
I'm literally like.
This is like that question, not question time. What's the program?
Mastermind.
Mastermind. Yeah.
Oh.
This is exactly how I wanted it to be. This is the effect I'm trying to create. I'll put you on the spot, ask you tough questions. Yeah. No, but I actually quite like these chairs. I think they're very comfy. But anyway, I'm not going to change the subject now. Thank you so much, my lovely, for coming all the way down to my lovely home and gracing us with your presence.
No.
Next time we'll make sure we have you on properly for dinner. And last but not least, of course, tell everyone where they can find you, how they can connect with you. For anyone new might be watching this, what's the best ways? Obviously, you've got the groups, of course, which are.
So RecommendAsian,
which is the ladies. Look, there's a few gents who try and get on that. All right, we do check. All right, so we know we know anyway, right? So yes, of course.
Professional Asian,
which is for everyone.
And they both got like almost 70,000 members each.
It was almost in parity, aren't they?
Yeah,
grow as well.
Yeah. And then the blog, Taking the Piss Off. You can follow me.
Now that it's out, now the secret's out, and Sham knows.
Yeah, now that Sham knows, it's all right. Well, it's like weird because it's not I didn't want Sham to know, but I didn't want like him to think it's about him, because it's not. It's like really a general, like, this is what guys are like, this is what women are like. It's not necessarily about me or him or anyone. Although I will share the odd gem. Yeah. But yeah, he knows now.
And your page as well, very well engaged as well. Because people love it.
Which one?
Taking the best out of it.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. They really like it.
Yeah, it's done very well.
Yeah, I just like get on there and talk shit and. Yeah.
And I think we need to get the videos going now as well.
Yeah, and the podcast.
And the podcast, yeah, absolutely. Get some great engagement on there.
Yeah.
So that's where you find her.
And Instagram.
Instagram, of course, as well. RecommendAsian. You've got your own Instagram as well, haven't you?
No, I don't. I don't use it. RecommendAsian.
There you go. Two Instagram accounts as well. So this is where you can find this amazing woman. For any more questions as well, pose it here or send her a message.
Or come to Hey Gorgeous on 28th and 29th of March.
Of course, we will definitely see you there. Like I said, I'll be behind your bench if you're looking for me, but if you're looking for me.
I'll be selling Amit's autographs.
Yeah. And by then, hopefully, it'll be a lot smaller version of me while I get ready for the marathon. And
are the moves going to go?
They're slowly going.
Yeah, I can really get away.
Yeah, no, she's the only one there. And my wife goes near them as well, so she's the only one. They will go. Don't worry, they are going down slowly but surely. So
they're not really there. That was more of a peg than a move.
It is. It's like
you
can flex them now as well and everything. So
can you do them alternately?
I can actually.
Really? Can we do like next podcast? I think you should put some tassels on there.
I just found a new talent. I can do. Woo! Mental image I'm leaving you with, ladies and gentlemen, for the end of the podcast.
Now it's sleep well.
You know what you're going to be dreaming about tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. I can't wait to hear about like her podcast and everything, and just like seeing it take off, and it will go crazy. I know it will. It will. And yeah, I'm excited, by the way. Feel inspired. You can find my page. You can join me on Instagram or wherever as well. And obviously the podcast on Anchor and all the other places as well. And there we go. Happy days.
Happy days.
Happy days.
Thanks to everyone.
Thank you for joining us. And next episode, I have no clue who's going to be on it yet. I'm just playing it by ear right now. So there we go. So, but thank you so much anyway. Honestly, it's been a pleasure. Yeah. Don't tell any of the other guests, but you've been the best one so far.
I know.
Anyway, cool. We're out of here. Ciao. Bye.
Bye.
Alrighty.
YouTube.
Say
bye to YouTube people.
Yeah, and I say
YouTube
exactly. We'll share that. You have to press an extra button now. And goodbye, YouTube people as well. Indeed. Oh, there we go. Be lazy now. End stream. And then we